Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Dr. Monique Ashitelu. I'm the founder and chief data consultant of Data-Driven Consulting and Solutions, where we help educational institutions, nonprofits, and corporate companies leverage their data to improve their outcomes, practices, and processes. Today, I will be sharing with you some of my ongoing research that looks at the intersection of race, athletics, and education. I'd like to now share with you my screen to begin my presentation of my study. My study is entitled Understanding the Socialization Process and its Influence on the Academic Performance of U.S. Black Male Collegiate Athletes. Now, before I go into the detail of my study, because we have an international audience, I'd like to provide some definitions, providing some contextual knowledge, since collegiate athletics is something that's very unique to the American college experience. College sports refers to non-professional athletic competition hosted by American higher education institutions. When I refer to NCAA, I'm referring to one of a few governing bodies that oversees its participating U.S. colleges and universities athletic programs. And within the NCAA, there's three tiers: Division I, Division II, and Division III. Division I is what I'll be focusing on. It is typically the largest institutions, largest student body, largest athletic budgets, and tend to generate the most revenue. And then student athlete refers to these college students who are participating in these college sports. The purpose of my study was to explore the socialization process of a Black male collegiate student athlete and its implications on his academic performance. This study stemmed from my experience as a former Division I collegiate track and field athlete, as well as a former Division I assistant coach to cross-country and track and field programs, where I witnessed how the central and key role of collegiate athletics is often at the expense of young adults, affecting these student athletes' academic and personal development. However, such problems extend beyond my personal experience, where it is shown in the literature that Division I student athletes consistently show poorer academic outcomes compared to their non-athlete peers. And when you look more specifically, compared to all other subpopulations, Black male football and basketball athletes tend to academically perform the lowest among Division I athletes. And this is really an issue because NCAA athletes that are Black males are about 12% of the student athlete population. Yet Black males are overrepresented with poor academic outcomes. And this was really important to me because I began to want to identify exact contributors to help improve the academic success for Black male football and basketball student athletes. And I looked to the socialization process. However, there was very little empirical evidence in regards to this population. And so I took a deep dive and looked at the socialization process, which includes integration via intermixing, personal adaptation, synthesizing, mutual adjustment and change, and sense of belonging. Through a phenomenological approach, my research question was, what is the socialization process of a Black collegiate football student athlete and its implications on his academic performance? My sample size was of 1, which included a non-athletic scholarship Black male football athlete attending a Division I institution in the Southeast region of the US, as well as conducting 2 in-person 45-minute interviews and 3 one-hour observations. 4 major themes emerged. 1, Black football athletes encounter challenges penetrating a pre-existing threefold structural system within US higher education. Secondly, Black football collegiate athletes experience the oxymoron of isolation. Third, football athletes often have to manage the constant tension between academic and sport commitments. Lastly, the salient role as a football athlete often overrides their identity as a Black man. For the sake of time, I will go into detail with the first finding, but please feel free to reach out if you would like to know more about the remaining 3 themes as listed here. This first theme explained the participants, Rashad, initial and ongoing challenges of attempting to adjust to the established threefold college culture of athletics, academics, and the social environment. Of the 3 layers, athletics is Rashad's primary focus, learning to navigate the established culture within his football program. And Rashad states, there is already a built-in system within the football team, and when I first came, I didn't know the system. Rashad explains the culture within his football program of preferential treatment towards student athletes receiving athletic scholarships. Unlike Rashad, who is not receiving an athletic scholarship, this differential treatment is pronounced where football coaches give those student athletes more attention. Where Rashad, although a football athlete, he did not know his coaches very well. As a result of the constant friction attempting to penetrate this well-established football culture, this negatively impacted Rashad's socialization with his teammates. And unfortunately, due to Rashad's disconnection in trying to connect or reach out to his coaches and staff of the football team, he did not seek athletic academic support services, such as tutors, learning specialists, or even getting insight on selecting his classes. Which brings us to the second layer of this threefold system, academics. I would have liked more help with academics. Last year, I failed my chemistry lab and pre-calculus. The second quote was, although I'm not sure what I'll do with that major, sport management, but I guess I'll figure it out as I go. Rashad chose to navigate the academic culture on his own and was often faced with challenges that negatively affected his academic performance and affected his choice of major without insight to make an informed decision. The final layer of the built-in threefold system is acclimating to the social campus environment. Unfortunately, Rashad did not look outside the football team for peer groups, and when his efforts did not manifest into friendships, he would often retreat inwardly. Rashad's inability to navigate the athletic demands, feelings of social isolation, and lack of using academic support services were major contributors to his challenged socialization process. Rashad represents many other Black male athletes who are missing learning opportunities and chances for personal growth that occurs outside of the football stadium. The following are a few recommendations from my paper for institutional practice. Recommendation 1. Institutions should implement practices and programs that are inclusive of the heterogeneous Black student-athlete experience. For example, contrary to the literature on Black male student-athletes, Rashad felt that his identity as a football athlete was way more salient than his identity as a Black man. Second recommendation, based on from my studies, specific forms of campus socialization emerged as important to Black male athletes, including academic support services, social inclusion, faculty interaction, engagement with non-athlete peers, and support in balancing academics and sport. Last recommendation, there should be a first-year experience seminar mandatory for all student athletes to introduce them to all of campus support services and address this misconception that student athlete is a mutually exclusive term. Secondly, there should be a seminar with a separate section for coaches to attend multiple workshops conveying the identities of both a student and an athlete, and the challenges on the socialization process many of their athletes face, especially Black student athletes. This concludes the summary of my study, and here is my contact information in case you have additional questions about this particular project or about the research and work that I do in this field. Thank you for tuning in and continue to enjoy the conference. Thanks.